Hi, welcome back to another Stand on Guard. I'm your host, David Creighton. Here it is, Thursday, and there's lots of snow on the ground, lots of snow on Justin Trudeau's head, and we'll be talking about what is going on now in the House of Commons, what's going on for Canada as we approach Christmas. We'll see you soon. We'll be right back.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need political change, but we also need to resolve to resist.
Yes, please ring the bell. Please like the station and recommend it to your friends and family before Christmas. We want to hit 40,000 subscribers by New Year's. Remember last year? We wanted to hit 20. I think it was 20. And we made it. We made it. We're going to do it again this year. Please share the station with your friends and family. Let's move the station a little further, closer to 50. And let's make sure we continue to resolve to resist. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for so much for helping me relieve that YouTube suppression. Made a mistake yesterday in my title, though. Never suggest Stephen Harper was to blame for the border crisis. It was a joke. And I really got penalized for it. But anyway, of course, Stephen Harper didn't cause the border crisis. Justin Trudeau did with his words, with his lack of funding for the CBSA, for the RCMP. You cannot blame open borders on Stephen Harper when he was prime minister 9 years ago, close to 10 next summer. So this is ridiculous how Justin Trudeau gets away with that. Yes, let's keep pushing those numbers up. Let's watch this station. Amen. We're going to do it this morning. So what's going on? We got a lot of things to discuss. And I want to say at the beginning, we'll get to this in a second, but there's there's an editorial in the Globe and Mail saying that Pierre Poilievre blew it with the tariffs. I take offense to that, and I object to that because Pierre Poilievre got it right on day one about the tariffs. He said, I can either be co-opted by Justin Trudeau and become part of his Team Trudeau. It's not Team Canada, it's Team Trudeau. Let's not call it Team Canada. Or I can be my own man and I can say it's Canada first. Because when you say Canada first, it means multiple things. But first of all, it's sending a signal to Donald Trump that, yes, we understand America first. We're Canada first. Donald Trump admires that. He likes that. Doesn't want Canada to roll over and say, go ahead, take it. Canada first is a country that doesn't allow the globalist agenda to thrive. Canada first means we're not beholden to the World Economic Forum and the Bilderbergs and everybody else that wants to control our economy. Canada first means we can trade equitably, fairly with other nations, including the United States. Canada first means we can survive as a nation because we're not strangling our energy sector, because we're not strangling our economy with taxes and regulations, that we have a free enterprise economy, truly free enterprise economy, not corporate welfare and not corporate capitalism or state capitalism, but free enterprise in the way it was supposed to be run. That's what Canada first means. So Pierre Poilievre didn't blow it. It came close to being co-opted this week. And we'll get to that in a minute. But this is the funny story of the day. Okay, Melanie Joly. She was in New York, had a picture session at the New York Times. And, the New York Times says she's going to be Justin Trudeau's replacement. Now, I found this astounding. Where did this come from? Melanie Joly has been barely there as a foreign affairs minister running the global affairs department. Why is there a different name for the department than the minister? I don't know, but that's Justin Trudeau for you. She's been barely there. She's the only foreign affairs minister I've ever heard of who says she makes policy according to the ethnicity in her writing. So she explained why she's all over the map on the Middle East because of her writing, because she has to appease the various ethnicities in her writing. So that means her policies have to be on Monday, pro-Israel, on Tuesday, pro-Palestine, on Wednesday, pro-Israel. She has to go all over the map. She can't make policy based on the right decision. It has to be based on Melanie's decision. Yeah, Melanie's politics. And here's Ian Austin, the New York Times, reporting from Montreal and Ottawa. The offer was as enticing as it was unexpected for a relative political newcomer. Yeah. 3 years ago, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau asked Melanie Joly to become foreign affairs minister, among the most prestigious and highest profile portfolios in Canada's cabinet. But she turned him down flat. Her refusal wasn't because of the fact she lacked her foreign policy experience. Oh no, she'd make a great travel agent. She said no because she feared that the travel involved in the globe-trotting job would force her to abandon her years-long quest to conceive a child through in vitro fertilization. How ironic. How do you think about how ironic this is? Here's a woman who's constantly lauding how wonderful abortion is. That abortion is a basic human right, and in Canada, it's in the Constitution. It's in the Charter of Rights. She said, of course it's not. But she says it's foundational to Canadian democracy and freedom to have an abortion. And yet she wants to have a child. These people are crazy. They don't think straight. Anyway, she ended up taking the job, obviously. Yeah, and there's lots of wonderful pictures of Melanie masked up during the COVID time with the other idiots in the cabinet. Ah, and the return of President-elect Donald J. Trump and his threat to impose large tariffs on Canadian goods poses so many diplomatic, economic, and immigration issues that Mr. Trudeau has revived a cabinet committee on U.S. relations that includes Ms. Joly. Her handling of all these challenges has brought Ms. Joly, 45, both praise and criticism. Anyway, I won't bore you any further with that. Have a look at the New York Times if you really want a good laugh. Let's get on to some other things here because I think
Justin Trudeau has lost control of everything after 9 years. He's lost control of spending, lost control of the deficit, lost control of immigration and the border. He has doubled the national debt, adding more debt than all prior prime ministers combined. And now he's completely lost control of our finances. Remember, his minister said there would be a cap on the deficit of no more than $40 billion. $40 billion. And now we hear that the deficit has gone much further than that. Why won't the finance minister tell us the true number? What's she hiding? Is she hiding that Trudeau lost control of the deficit this year, just like every year? Yesterday, you all asked her if she would have a fall economic update. She wouldn't answer. The Prime Minister's office told you that there would be a fall update. So apparently these two don't speak, or maybe they're fighting over how big and out of control the deficit actually is. Once again, such a fight would be a loss of control by the Prime Minister. And so we're today, common sense conservatives, are calling for the Finance Minister to introduce a fall update to indicate whether she's keeping her promise to cap the deficit at $40 billion or whether Trudeau's completely lost control of the deficit once again. Not only will we cooperate to let her introduce that fall update, we will actually give her a Christmas gift. We'll give her 2 hours out of our Conservative Opposition Motion Day on Monday for her to stand on her feet and tell us how much she's lost control of the nation's finances. So the challenge is over to Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau. Stand on your feet Monday at 4 p.m. We'll clear the deck so you can do it, and tell us how badly you've lost control of the nation's finances and the inflation and taxes Canadians pay as a result. Thank you very much.
so. What's going on here? This happened in the United States in 2012. And at the time, I was reporting on this for Sun News. And that's when Barack Obama went over the fiscal cliff. And this is what's going to happen in Canada. You say, oh, I don't know, it can't happen here. Yes, it can. And I'll tell you what's going to happen here. And it's quite frightening. Canada is going to go over what is called the fiscal cliff. And when that happens, that means Canada goes over the $40 billion debt ceiling. There's a debt ceiling. Yes, there is. And it's not just symbolic. And you have to increase the debt ceiling. In the United States, they had to keep increasing the debt ceiling in order for the government to keep running because they literally ran out of money. So they had to increase the debt ceiling. Now, this has led, of course, to a situation where the United States is so far in trillions of dollars into debt that there's literally no ceiling anymore. And this is exactly why Freeland does not want an economic update. Fall economic update? I mean, we're pushing it a bit far here. I'm looking out the window and we've got a couple of inches of snow overnight here. It's December 5th today. Winter is less than 2 weeks away. Now, they've got to get this thing done pretty quickly. Now, do you think they're going to do it next week? Now, Poilievre is very smart, politically smart here. He knows they don't want a fall update. They don't want to let Canadians know how bad the economy is. We are in a recession where the economy is very bad, and they're, once again, deficit spending beyond their control. They have no control over the spending. So what they want to do is stand up in the House of Commons during question period and say, Canada's number one amongst the G7. Inflation's going down. Our debt to GDP ratio is among the lowest in the G7. Let's not talk about food banks. Let's not talk about the real cost of inflation. Let's not talk about taxes. Let's not talk about a healthcare system that's completely broken. Let's not talk about the fact Canada is teetering on the brink. But this is very smart what Pierre Poilievre is doing. And of course, we'll get to the other thing that's very smart what he's doing. Now, here is Arif Virani's proposal. We're calling on all parties to work with us to advance the child protection measures. Oh, that sounds wonderful. This means protecting our kids from harmful content and abusive behavior online and requiring platforms to remove child sexual exploitation material and revenge porn. Guess what, Mr. Attorney General? Guess what, Mr. Half-witted Justice Minister? We already have those laws. We don't need more laws from you. We don't need to pass any more legislation. This is a smoke screen for censorship. This is why you want to introduce Bill C-63 in parts. Part 1, Part 2. Part 1, of course, is completely unnecessary. It's a smokescreen. It's got nothing. This bill never had anything to do with protecting children or women or anybody. It has everything to do with protecting Justin Trudeau's rear end. It has everything to do with taking your free speech away. So that is what, guys,
Yes, hi. So I'm here to talk about Bill C-63, the online harms bill. And what I'm saying to you and to Canadians is that we as a government are making the determination to divide this bill into two parts. The first part of the bill will deal with the parts that target children and combating child sex predators and issues that relate to revenge porn. That is parts 1 and parts 4 of the bill. Parts 1 deals with the Digital Safety Commission. Part 4 deals with how you prosecute child sex predators under new tools under the Mandatory Reporting Act. Part 2 of the bill will be the Criminal Code amendments and the Canadian Human Rights Act amendments that deal with the important combat against hatred. These bills will proceed on different tracks. We are putting our emphasis and prioritization and our time and efforts on the first portion of the bill, which deals with child sex predators.
Big Brother is watching you. And that's what they're up to here. And that's what we need to remember, folks. Anyway. And that's the lesson here. By the way, sorry for the early start this morning. I know I said 10 o'clock is supposed to be the mainstay, but I'm leaving today, as I said, to go out west to visit my mom, and I had to start the broadcast early. I'm going to try to stay consistent over the next 4 or 5 days while I'm traveling, but we'll see. And thank you for your patience and your continued support.
We're on the border with Pierre Poilievre. Where is the line between legitimate criticism, please, and playing into Mr. Trump's hands?
Let me just say this. There is a tradition in Canada that when times are tough, when there's a moment of crisis, or when we're threatened, Canadians pull together. We step up, we go across partisan lines, and we defend Canada. It seems increasingly clear that that is not something Pierre Poilievre is able to do.
So, if you don't support me, if you don't support my government, if you don't support my policies, you're a traitor. You're a traitor to Canada. Just like Justin Trudeau was on the stand during the Hogue inquiry. Every Conservative MP was a potential traitor. I have a list. I think so. I can't give you the list. I can't show you the list, but I have a list. And Justin Trudeau, of course, is suggesting that Pierre Poilievre, if he doesn't bend, if he has his own answers, if Pierre Poilievre has a better solution for Donald Trump's tariffs, I don't want to hear about it, Justin Trudeau says, because you're not part of my team. And my team is Team Canada. What have I said consistently over the years? Justin Trudeau is like Louis XIV. Remember, it was sunny ways at the beginning? Well, it was really the Sun King ways. Louis XIV, who said, "L'État c'est moi." Justin Trudeau believes he is Canada. He's the embodiment of Canada. That we've seen that sort of, shall we say, mindset in other world leaders in the past, namely one that was the chancellor and leader of Germany for 12 years. He believed he was the very embodiment of the state, of the people. And that is exactly how Justin Trudeau sees himself. Don't agree with him, you disagree with Canada. Don't agree with Justin Trudeau, you are going against Canada itself. And that is Justin Trudeau's mind. Now, poor Chrystia Freeland. How would you feel? I mean, it's a comeuppance many of us say she deserves because she has been so damn arrogant, so supercilious, so completely dismissive of everybody who she thinks is just not quite as smart as she is, not quite as perspicacious, not really as brilliant as Chrystia Freeland, the failed journalist with the grandfather who was a Nazi propagandist. Yes, that Chrystia Freeland. But I'm seriously concerned about Christia's health right now, and we can see why. Look at how she responds to this question. It's like the switch turns and the robot comes on.
It's a very good question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish you had afforded the same courtesy to the Minister of Finance, who also wanted to answer a question. And I think
Now, Chrystia Freeland, is she reading the New York Times article here about Melanie Joly being the next prime minister? Maybe. She seems to be completely immersed in something she's reading. Or is she having a medical breakdown of some kind? I'm not going to say what it looks like. We all know what this looks like. It looks like a serious medical problem.
I think it would be appropriate to make sure that we apply the same standard moving forward. But what I would like to say to the leader of the opposition is that we gave him an opportunity to debate that, and instead of taking it, they ran away afraid. So, Mr. Speaker, I am surprised that he's even bringing this up, because when we gave them an opportunity to hold that vote, they said no, Mr. Speaker. But that's just another pattern of their behavior where they say one thing and do another.
It's like she came out of it there. It's like she was comatose. Then she came out of it.
The honourable member.
Just on the fall economic statement, for many years the previous government did not introduce it in the House of Commons. There's no requirement that it be introduced in the House of Commons. So are you considering alternate locations, and if not, why not?
It's a very good question. usual practice for our government is to introduce the fall economic statement in the House of Commons.
Looks like she had a little bit of a brain fart there. Couldn't seem to put it together. All right, save the best for last. Here's the theater from yesterday's question period.
This week, Prime Minister has lost control of everything. He's lost control of the borders, lost control of immigration, lost control of spending, and now has lost control of his cabinet and party. In fact, his foreign minister is now announcing her leadership campaign in the New York Times. The Liberal leader of the province of Ontario has announced she's against his quadrupling carbon tax. The Liberal Premier of Newfoundland is against his job-killing energy cap, and 20 of his MPs want to fire him. How is it that he clings to power when he's lost control?
Yeah. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
We can all see that the leader of the opposition has trouble with the ideas that individuals might have different perspectives, and that might be a good thing for a robust political party like the Liberal Party of Canada and all its partners across the country. The leader of the opposition refuses to let his backbenchers or any of his team members have any opinions at all. Indeed, he sanctioned them and wrote a letter in their name decrying their advocacy for their own citizens in their communities.
Only Justin Trudeau could make a party revolt, a caucus revolt, sound like it's somehow a good thing for you. But how can you take the
when it came to delivering money for mayors for housing from coast to coast to coast? He stands for muzzling his MPs. We stand for diversity.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Diversity of opinions, I guess that means the opinion that he should not be Prime Minister. That's the predominant opinion among Liberals across the country. On the front page of the New York Times, you'd think the Foreign Minister would be fighting Trump's tariffs. Instead, she's fighting for her boss's job, where she's described in the headline as a possible successor after she sat down for a photo shoot and made the case. This on top of a Liberal leader in Ontario who's against his quadrupling carbon tax, a Liberal Premier in Newfoundland who opposes his job-killing energy cap. Why won't the Prime Minister get the point? His party doesn't want him anymore.
Yeah. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Let's talk, Mr. Speaker, about standing up for Canada. One of the things we've seen throughout our history, when Canada is threatened, when it's challenged with a crisis, when people want ill of Canadians, Canadians pull together across partisan stripes, across backgrounds, across the country to stand up for our neighbours, to stand up for Canadians. That's certainly what we were able to do as a country.
You notice Trudeau always has to go to the extreme. Like, we're not at war with the United States. That's when there is no real difference between political parties. When we're at war and it's like Nazi Germany at our doorstep. We have to fight. We're not at war with Donald Trump. We're not at war with the United States. This is stupidity. And we shouldn't be at war with Russia either. But Justin Trudeau wants to be at war with everybody so we can have no political dispute in Canada. No political difference. That's what he wants.
8 years ago. Unfortunately, this basic Canadian attribute seems unavailable to that leader of the opposition who can't help himself on playing politics with Canadians' well-being.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, this from a Prime Minister who is helping Donald Trump take away our jobs. You can just imagine the President in the Oval Office calling our businesses to say, hey, I saw that you have a quadrupling carbon tax north of the border. Why not come south of the border where there's no carbon tax and other taxes are falling? How about the latest electricity tax the Prime Minister is bringing in that will drive factories south of the border, or his energy cap that will drive away our resource companies? I understand why President Trump wants to take Canadian jobs, but why is this Prime Minister trying to help him do it?
Pierre Poilievre triumphant here. I say, I'll criticize Pierre if I have to. I'll praise him when I need to. He's doing some great things here. He's standing up not just for himself, not just for the the Conservative Party, but he's really standing up for Canada first here. He's not bowing down to Justin Trudeau. That's important.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
The problem for the Leader of the Opposition is Canadians increasingly see through his shallow partisan games. If he actually cared about guys helping Canadians and cutting taxes, he wouldn't have voted against taking off the sales tax for Canadians for the next few months. Right. But he wants Canadians to continue to struggle because it benefits him politically, perhaps, instead of actually being there to solve the challenges Canadians are facing. That's why he voted against dental care for seniors. That's why he voted against a school food program. That's why he's voting against a sales tax break for Canadians for the next few months. That's not on, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable député. I'm having great difficulty hearing the honourable member from Burnaby South.
All right, wait for it, people. This is the best exchange of the entire question period. And if you think anybody really wants to hear the member from Burnaby South,
The honourable member from Burnaby South.
Why are these Conservatives chirping so much? They've proven that they are bootlickers for billionaires.
Position.
Mr. Speaker, the province of Ontario has announced she's a
bootlickers for billionaires. This is the guy driving the Maserati with the leather bags, the Rolex watches, the Versace accessories. This is the silver-tongued corporate lawyer from Toronto who has never known want.
against his quadrupling carbon tax. The Liberal Premier of Newfoundland is against his job-killing energy cap, and 20 of his MPs want to fire him. How is it that he clings to power when he's lost control?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
We can all see that the Leader of the Opposition has trouble with the ideas that individuals might have different perspectives, and that might be a good thing for a robust political party like the Liberal Party of Canada.
Bootlickers for billionaires.
Position.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister claims he's taking taxes off of fresh-made produce. He really does. He really does think that food comes from the grocery store, not from the farmers who actually grow the produce. That's why he, I guess, thinks he can carbon tax those farmers without taxing the food. And then you have his friend, the Maserati Marxist over there in the.
Yeah, based on a story, by the way, it's about 2 weeks old, and based on an incident that happened in October. We have to give True North credit for finding this thing, actually, because there's video of Singh loading his Maserati up with his leather bag. It's just, picture says 1,000 words.
You're both out of touch. Canadians are out of money. How about a carbon tax election?
How about a carbon tax election? That says it all. Pierre Poilievre is back. He was wandering for a couple of days. Wondering with an O, whether or not it was somehow being unfaithful to Canada to continue to attack Justin Trudeau's bad policies. He arrived at the inescapable conclusion that it's more pro-Canadian to oppose Justin Trudeau because Justin Trudeau is dragging this country into hell. And he's got the plan to save Canada from tariffs. But more so, he's got the plan to save Canada from Justin Trudeau. The threat to Canada is Justin Trudeau. And that's what Pierre Poilievre realizes. And that's why he's pushing back on Justin Trudeau. Pierre Poilievre can deal with Donald Trump. He can talk to Donald Trump. He can negotiate with Donald Trump. Justin Trudeau can't. Justin Trudeau is a joke to Donald Trump. But Poilievre understands that it has to be Canada first, not Team Trudeau. It has to be about not just fighting the tariffs, but by redirecting the economy, but by cutting taxes, getting rid of the carbon tax, stopping caps on oil and gas and the energy sector, redirecting where Canada is going in a fundamental way. That's what Poilievre gets. That's why he's up in the House again saying Canada first. That's why he's up in the House again and saying let's have a carbon tax election. Because no, you can't follow the lead of the Globe and Mail and say knuckle under to Trudeau's team. Even if you want to call it Team Canada, it's Team Trudeau. And that's what Poilievre gets. It's very tempting when there's a crisis to go in the wrong direction. Poilievre instinctively went in the right direction on day one. He wavered for a day or so. He's back going in the right direction. I say that in right, meaning in two different ways. But thank you for watching today. I will be back again tomorrow. Not sure what time, but stay tuned. I'm traveling. And thank you for your prayers and support as I go visit my mom. And as I've said, she's not doing well. And this is a chance to see her, and I hope to have a meaningful conversation. Thank you for caring enough for me to say that. I'll be back again tomorrow. God bless you. Continue to resolve to resist, and I'll be back with all the news you need to know.